just because, excuse me, just because that tends to really hunt out and really play a big part for Jinesbrus in slowing down that pace. It does look like they'll go with the Earthshaker first. So it looks like a slight shakeup. Whether or not this is going to be the 4-Rev hero or the Febby hero remains to be seen. But, you know, you have a lot of potential there already. Really good team fight that counteracts that illusion spam coming out as well. Amplfy with that center War Runner has a way of disengaging really well. But their team fight is still looking a bit lackluster with their lineup overall.
Yeah, certainly is, John. I mean, they are putting it together piece by piece. The team Jinesbrus definitely looking pretty strong already. I'm quite intrigued as well, by the way, about that Earthshaker. I mean, we've seen Febby over and over again, game after game, playing Spirit Breaker. And I just can't... I can't imagine they won't pick up the Spirit Breaker and run a core Earthshaker. But I guess we're going to find out very soon, because Jinesbrus, 4th pick for them. This is one of the first times, by the way, that we've seen them use reserve time. Usually they'll hold it all the way to the last pick. But this time around, they are actually ticking it down further than Amplfy do. So
yeah, that's interesting to see. Definitely is. And they're taking their time here. I'm probably thinking about that offlane, if not probably thinking about what support to go if they go with a core shaker. Now, I don't know, I'm just so used to seeing Febby on the Spirit Breaker that when it's not him on that, it's kind of strange. Okay, the Pangolier is out for Jinesbrus, so you have that highly mobile hero. It remains to be seen which one's really going to be the 4-Rev and Febby hero. So which one's the offlaner, which one's the support is still up in the air. We have seen position 4 Pangoliers every now and again. I think with the Ancient Apparition, you're probably going to want to go with the Earthshaker support as well. You're going to have that Pangolier safe lane, and this is going to be interesting. This is the first time we're seeing the Pangolier coming out from Jinesbrus. For the most part, we've seen them go back to that Timbersaw every single time for 4-Rev, and it has paid off quite a fair bit. But this time around, they are switching it up, and I am curious to see how exactly they run that Pangolier. It should be able to apply that lane pressure you want, and again, that Shaker's its presence in lane and its ability to cut people off is never to be underestimated. So you already have a lineup from Jinesbrus that does want to be aggressive early on, and you know it's going to be a bit hard for Amplfy to maybe find that space they want. The Io Gyro definitely needs time to come online. Centaur can do work, but in this case, you're going to be looking for a mid that can really pick up that aggression, at the very least counteract what Jinesbrus wants to have. It needs to come online early because your Gyrocopter is going to be eating all your space.
It certainly is. So it'll be interesting to see what this final pick will be. Of course, Jinesbrus, once again, though, they are using a lot of reserve time for this final ban, and we'll have to wait that out before we see where they're headed. So I wonder what they're thinking about here. I mean, if you're worried about the mid matchup for Gunner, he does get rid of the Storm. I thought they'd go for the TA ban instead, and they actually pick up a Venomancer now. Now, this is so different to what we're used to. And this is a 23 Savage Veno?
Yeah, we've seen the Venomancer come out from Jinesbrus before, but that was 4-Rev playing it. I'm not sure if you're going to have that in this case. The Pangolier just doesn't feel like the kind of hero that Savage would play, mainly because it comes online pretty fast. You'd want something that farms up slower. So the Venomancer is probably going to be his hero. I mean, they could still change it up, have a Pangolier 1, but that just seems so strange. It doesn't fit into the typical Jinesbrus playbook, at the very least in the terms of their timings. And this is interesting. This is a very different lineup from what we have been seeing the past day, yesterday. This is going to be something else to watch. You have the staples there, the Ember Spirit, the Ancient Apparition. Then you have the Venomancer, which 4-Rev played, but this time around it does look to be shaping up to be a 23 Savage safe lane Venomancer. I mean, we talked about needing that fast, Jinesbrus playing that fast pace. This is still a pretty fast-paced team. It's just that the Venomancer is not the most common pick, and you can really go either way with it, right? You can start melting towers with the wards, or you can play aggressive with a Venomous Gale. So I guess you still have that option for Jinesbrus. It's still strong early on. Combine that with the Ancient Apparition, so you're blocking them from regenning up. You're also applying some huge DOTs on them. They're just going to melt. Amplfy, they go with that Queen of Pain. That's a pretty solid pick, and it does give them that way of counteracting that aggression earlier on. She can jump the backline, catch out March, catch out Savage, and burst those heroes down quite fast. You also don't have the best stuns from Jinesbrus. I mean, you have the Shaker, but beyond that, you're going to be hoping that March and Gunner can land air stuns. Like the cold feet is enough to hold Carl down, so you're going to have to chain stun properly for that. Gunner is going to have to chain him every single time if they want to keep that hero in place. The fortunate thing for Jinesbrus is that's really the only mobile hero they have to care about. The IO can teeter in and out, but with a Shaker, that's easy enough to counteract. The Gyrocopter and the Centaur, of course, are not the most naturally mobile heroes unless you're going to commit that Stampede. So, it's going to be interesting to see how both sides do play this. Amplify with their draft. Definitely need to buy space for that IO Gyrocopter. A bot's going to need all the space in the world to farm up. And Jinesbrus, they just look to be active early on. I'd say maybe the first 5 minutes are going to be rough, depending on how the lanes go. But definitely in that early mid game, like say 10 to 20 minutes, that's when these guys should be online and ready to kick. Even Savage, in this case, with a Venomancer, should be much more active in the map.
Did you question Gunner Ember Spirit, John?
No.
How dare you? You said he has to connect every
Yeah, he has to
chain.
land the chains on... The key target's going to be that Queen of Pain, because it's the most naturally mobile hero with a blink.
Yeah, look, I'm just joking around, John. Don't take offense, sir. We are getting into game number 1 of the day. And of course, what would a Southeast Asian game be without a pause at the start? And of course, the boys on Jinesbrus going to start with the all chat straight off the bat. Of course, we are going to see Amplify try to match them in that, but it's not going to be too easy. And get to the actual screen that we're meant to be in. There we go. So, John, overall, I know you talked about the draft a hell of a lot. I liked that finishing from Amplify, that Queen of Pain. But I have to ask you, overall, who came out on top with these drafts?
Jinesbrus.
Okay.
Just straight up Jinesbrus. It's because they have every single thing they want. They have that Ember Spirit for Gunner. They have the March Ancient Apparition. I'm not sure if March is bored of the hero. He's played it in nearly every single game.
Absolutely.
But you've got all the tools here from Jinesbrus. You do have a bit of a shakeup for Febby. Of course, he's going to be playing on the Earthshaker. So it's a bit of a shakeup. He's not going to have that mad, constant charging hero anymore. But you still have a really high effect with that Shaker, right? You block people out with the Fissure. You take control of the map like that. And there we go. We have one disconnect. And apparently Rip Korea.
Yeah, they're talking about getting Korean servers back for Dota. Which I don't know for sure, John, but I don't believe they have their own servers, right?
No, they used to. I think at one point they did and then got closed out.
Very upsetting indeed. Hopefully, though, perhaps with Jinesbrus, I mean, if they can qualify to TI9, which I got to tell you, John, it kind of feels like a sure thing at the moment. Obviously, in the playoffs, it'll be a different story, as to whether they can make it all the way through. But you'd like to see the Korean servers go back up because it is such a great nation for esports. Korea is, of course.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Of course, they are into that other MOBA. Not StarCraft, the other one, John. We won't talk about the name.
StarCraft's not a MOBA, Mike.
No, I know, John, but people may get confused because I'm saying Korea and esports, so they're automatically going to think StarCraft. What I'm talking about, John, is another MOBA that is essentially a copy of Dota, just way worse. Much more boring. If you enjoy seeing no kills, you could definitely view that on Twitch as well. Somewhere down the bottom on the list. You've got to keep scrolling. Anyway.
Oh boy. Oh man.
I played that MOBA like once in my life, John.
Yeah?
Interesting experience.
Interesting experience.
That's the most positive.
I think I played it once as well. I think I played it once when I first went to Singapore. And one of my friends from my scholarship, one of my scholarship mates were like, "Hey, come on over to our flat. We'll play some. We'll get you playing League." And I played one game, and I have no idea what happened. And I don't remember that night, Mike, and I'm fortunate enough to not remember.
Did you call the police? I mean, it sounds like you're molested, John. It's just disgusting.
Nah. It's unfortunate, but no. Like, I just had no recollection. Next thing I knew, I woke up, I was back in my dorm room. There was no evidence that the game was ever installed, so
Good.
That was it for me.
Good. It's good to hear, John. I'm sorry that happened to you. Anyway, moving on. The game has started. Luckily, we have unpaused. Amplify versus Jinesbrus. Again, this is the last chance for a team to try and take a game off Jinesbrus before the group stage ends. Of course, if they do not end up winning, Jinesbrus will be undefeated throughout the group stage. And what an interesting story to start off the TI9 run for them. Again, assuming they do make it. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, John, but my God, they're looking good. They're going to run around. Yes.
I want to point out something. If you check out every single hero on Jinesbrus' side, nearly all of them have at least one tango for March. March has provided at least 5 tangos out this game. And he still has 4 left for himself, so what a generous guy March is.
He's kind of like the father of the group, right? Like, just telling everyone to eat their vegetables. Have some broccoli, kids. Gotta grow up big and strong. It is very nice, though, from March. Well played to you, sir. Looks like 23 Savage did not get one. So, a bit unfortunate for him.
He's too young for the greens, Mike.
Yeah, that is true. He is only 17 years old, John. I know he was young. I didn't know exactly how young, but 17 years old and he's this darn good.
Yeah. He is really shining in these close qualifiers. He does go for level 1 Gale.
They will be able to get that banner in up at the top lane. And now Ryo actually starting to fall low, but he is taking down March quite easily, though. Here come the chains from Gunnar. Ryo being controlled now. They're going to try and go after Gunnar instead with the disruption. Looks like Savage not going to give up. He's going to have the Gale up in about 2 seconds, and they're going to continue this chase. Ryo does cop it. Meanwhile, March still making a run for it in the AA, and Ryo, can he juke this out? He is so far, though. Savage does not fall for these. And it looks like Ryo should be the first blood, and Savage will find it. Meanwhile, March will be able to get out of there safely, and he'll actually just return to the lane. He won't even go back to the base. Great start for Jinesbrus.
Definitely is. They could have went for 4 bounty runes instead of kills, but they figured out that 1 kill is more important than the additional rune. They still get ahead. 3 for 1, and first blood going their way. I'm sure Savage is not going to be minding that at all.
Definitely not. Was Jo going to start blocking that small camp straight off the bat? You always see March, he always gets those pulls off and really controls the equilibrium of the lane for Savage, but with that block it should be a lot harder, although Ryo copping a hell of a lot of damage. They're going with the disruption though, and Savage will be forced to back a bit. Looks like he will be alright, but Ryo can have to be very wary of how much dot damage he does take from that Veno. Meanwhile though, we'll have a look at the other lanes. Of course, Carl is there on the Queen of Pain, and Gunnar will be there on the Ember. It does look like Carl has been very aggressive so far, dishing out quite a bit of harassment towards Gunnar, and has taken a pretty big lead. 8 last hits, 4 denies on him, 4 and 1 for Gunnar, so he's basically doubled the last hits so far, and again, Gunnar has burned through quite a bit of regen already.
He did have to go for level 1 chains to secure those kills up top, which means he doesn't have any levels in Flame Guard just yet, and that is costing him this lane quite a fair bit. Again, he is behind the last hits. He can't play with a harass coming out from Carl, and it is hurting him here.
Yeah, he's really copping it now. Carl doesn't have the blink, so won't chase any further, but Gunnar really going to have to be careful until he does get that 3rd level, so he can get that shield up. Meanwhile, bot lane as well, you'll see Febby and Forev, they're going up against Abat and BDZ on that Gyro IO, and Forev actually going to start getting quite low, and a homing missile coming in, and Rocket Barrage as well, but they can't actually take him out. Meanwhile, Savage actually ended up going down at the bot lane, and it looks like they will be able to get Abat out at the bot lane, so he'll be okay. Still though, a 1 for 1 now. Nice Fisher coming out. Forev though, won't really chase for it, but he does have the Swashbuckle available. We'll just leave it at that. And so, it looks like it's going to be one of those games where both teams just run at each other constantly, and that's really what we want to see, isn't it, John?
It definitely is. Oh, Gunnar.
Carl does end up finding it. He picked up a double damage rune and just had the level 1 blink, had the scream. Flame Guard still not available. He went for the level 2 Sleight of Fist, so he knew that he was going to be in danger going for that skill build, but looks like he will opt for that, and he does pay for it in the end.
He definitely does. Again, Gunnar is not having the best time here. He does hit his level 4, so he has level 1 spell shield. It should be easy for the Queen of Pain to burn through that, though, at this point in the game. But it does give him a tool to at least clear out these waves just a bit better.
Definitely should. So far, great start, though, from Amplfy. They're pretty much winning every single lane right now. Like, in terms of last hits, all 3 cores from the side of Amplfy are on top, and Jinesbrus, for the moment at least, are starting to fall a little bit behind. We'll see what they can do to catch up, but Amplfy, they definitely thought about this laning stage quite well. They're definitely showing it off here, right here and now, in this game number 1. Of course, I say game number 1, but it is a best of 1 series, so it's not like there's going to be a second game here, which is why perhaps Amplfy just trying so hard to get this win. You look at Carl in that quap, he will not stop with the aggression, just keeps jumping in. He has 3 null talismans up now. Gunnar, he wanted to go for that illusion rune, but Carl does have the blink anyway, so he would have beat him to it. Gunnar would rather just walk back, try to get some farm and XP while he can before Carl comes back into the lane. It does appear though, I mean, if this laning stage keeps up like this, I mean, Carl, he's probably going to have some greater momentum going into that mid game. Gunnar, I imagine, will have to try and get some catch-up farm going.
Yeah, he definitely will. He did go for level 3 Sleight of Fists at 5, so it's a 1-3-1 build for him. And we haven't seen that in a while. I don't think we've seen him do this in any single game we've covered of him. But this does allow him to play a bit more on the edge, right? Dodging spells, dodging stuns out with those Sleights of Fists is just a bit easier. You pump out a bit more damage as well. I'm curious if he's going to be going for a physical build on this Ember just because he went for this kind of skill build, but more than likely not. I don't think his itemization is going to be splitting off too hard. It's just the timing. Gunnar's farm is definitely not where it usually is. It's not up there right now, but we have seen him in this situation a couple of times before, and he does tend to at least find some catch-up in terms of pick-offs as the game goes on.
It looks like Jayo's rotated down in the mid lane now on the Shadow Demon, though he'll back off as well. McCall just jumps in onto Gunnar, has a Sonic Wave, and just blows him up. He hit level 6 before Gunnar could. He's now 1 level ahead of the Ember. And Carl, that's going to be his 2nd kill of the game, and that's going to be the 2nd death of Gunnar's game. Again, Amplfy, just a great start coming out though. Top lane, Ryo, gonna be in trouble. Looks like he will be controlled up enough. He's still trying to go into the tree line right now and try to juke them out. Though there's the Gale coming in. He'll throw a hoof stomp, a double edge up, but he understands he's dead. And so that's gonna make it a 3-2 now.
Yeah, you are starting to find that aggression coming out on this top lane. And again, with a core like Venomancer, when you go for the Venomous Gale focused build, at least a 2-1-2 kind of build, you can really pump out the damage early on. You have to watch out for how far you extend if you're laning up against Venom in this case.
Forev gonna be in trouble though. He still goes after a bat. Swashbuckle will be there and he gets himself out. Now Febby jumps in with the Fisher and it does connect on 2. That'll be the end of that. Forev gonna be forced to go to his shrine. Looks like they will do the same for a bat and BDZ as well. Gunnar again getting very low. Carl should be able to find this, though he does have remnants this time around. Though, oh, blinks in, but misses the scream, and now he gets chained up. They're going to try and punish Febby. He gets a Fisher off. Blink not going to be available, and Carl will end up going down. Gunnar finds him. And he thought he was in the tree line, John. He actually ran towards the east side into the mid lane, and, well, he went for the blind blink, but it just did not work out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Carl, but those were some good rotations forced out from Jinesbrus. They do find that kill. They do smoke up immediately as well. They're going to try to find something up top after popping their shrine. Yeah.
They still haven't got Ice Blast up yet on March. So, looks like you'll see Gunnar. He'll return back to the mid lane. He's still a bit behind in farm, so it's quite important he tries to catch up. Meanwhile, though, the 2 supports Jinesbrus, they will go up to the top, perhaps trying to get Ryo again on that Centaur. Just a matter of setting up. They do get the Fisher off. Nice block coming out from Febby. Now, Venomous Gale as well, but there's not going to be any follow-up. Looks like it was a bit of a warning shot coming out from Febby. Just letting him know that they can roam around wherever. Meanwhile, mid lane again, Gunnar going to end up going down. Carl just putting on a bit of a clinic here and does tip Gunnar as well. Savage loves it. Carl, I mean, this Queen of Pain, John, I'll bring up the net worth now, but 3.9k net worth at 8.5 minutes in. Febby comes in and loses half his HP pretty much immediately. I say half, it was more like 1/3, but this concerns me here. I mean, Amplfy, they're doing so darn well in these lanes. They're going to have some crazy momentum into the mid game. Do you think with this draft, Jinesbrus can keep up once you hit that mid game?
Look, it's looking rough in the laning phase so far, and this is exactly what Amplify needed to do, right? They needed the momentum on Carl this time around, mainly because your IO Gyro combination is going to take its time. No matter what you want, the Gyro will need some farm before it's going to be comfy going in these engagements, and Carl is there to pick up that slack. In fact, he's going in for Gunner again.
Yeah, he just loves going after this man. Of course, they know how dangerous he is on the Ember. And I feel like this is the right play coming out, although Fisher does come from Febby, but he doesn't get the block off. Still, blink back in, Gunner, slide a fist, but he will not dodge the scream, and now just going to try and run away. They know exactly where his remnant is. Carl just waiting for that blink to be back up. He has another scream available. Gunner. Carl just kind of trying to bait him out, and yeah, he does. Remnant is there, although he misses the scream once again. Carl, now he gets blocked in, and this is going to cost him forever. He's there as well, but he has a Stampede available and does get away for the moment. Now the blink away as well. Meanwhile, March went down to Ryo up at that top lane on the AA. So again, Amplify finding the best out of the situations that they get. Ryo will just go ahead and TP straight back towards his tier 1 tower, and well, I thought he was going to shrine up, but it's not quite available. So Carl, going to get healed up by the Ion. They're going to jump in straight after March, but now 23 Savage is there, and the Rolling Thunder, that blink is going to cost the Queen of Pain quite a lot. Carl, just way too aggressive on the blink. He really wanted the bounty rune, and he did get it, John, on the brighter side of things for the side of Amplify. But your top net worth hero, you probably don't want to sacrifice for that bounty rune.
Oh, definitely so. It's not worthwhile for Amplify, and that was pretty good from Jinesbrus, just posturing around that top rune. It was a bit odd, Amplify forcing the issue out, and Carl, he is ahead, but when you throw 5 heroes at him, 4 or 5 heroes at him, he's not going to hold up.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under
Carl, trying to get a Veil of Discord up now. Which is fair enough. I mean, he's had such great farm. You could get it up pretty darn soon. I say he's had great farm, though. The net worth has started to be taken over by Ryo on the Centaur. It looks like he's going to have a Vanguard up very, very soon. He's already got the Hood of Defiance as well. So that's going to be another big concern here for Jinesbrus, considering how tanky the Centaur is going to be. In fact, he will start going on Gunner. Gunner will just immediately remnant out of there before Jo gets in. Well, mid lane, Febby will end up going down. Carl finds another one with that Sonic Wave and hits him almost 5k net worth now on that Queen of Pain. And that's going to be his 4th kill of the game as well.
Yeah, he has been pretty real aggressive. Oh.
Might have been the 5th, but they jump out of there. Meanwhile, top lane Gunner was in trouble, but gets out. March trying to survive Carl. Here comes the Venom Scale. Savage going to try and help him out as well. They threw the Ice Blast to the top lane, but it won't really connect on anybody. Meanwhile, Carl falling low. Savage throws out another Urn Charge, and then does get the dot damage at the very least. But Carl will have BDZ there on the IO, and that means he's going to be perfectly fine.
Dire structures are falling.
Yeah, this aggression coming out from Amplify is really refreshing to see. You know, they've had a pretty rough run in these open qualifiers so far, but they are showing up here for their matchup against Jinesbrus, and it is certainly paying off. They have a 3k lead at 12 minutes in, 7-4. They're finding everything they want. They've got great farm on the bot as well.
They've got that top tier 1 tower though. Forever going to jump in with the Rolling Thunder. They want to go after that Gyrocopter. They'll get the Ice Blast off. The IO can't heal him up any longer. And with that, it looks like he is just basically dead. Now the Echo comes out on Ryo. They're trying to control up that Centaur. Though can they? BDZ comes in and a lot of damage being copped here by the side of Jinesbrus. And here comes Carl. He looks to clean up. It'll be March that is the target for him. Meanwhile, Gunner looks like he'll just try and get out of there as well. March understands he's dead, but they get everyone else out at the very least. Still, a nice trade coming up from Amplify. They find a 1-for-2 trade. The only negative for them was, though, they lost their position 1 carry.
Oh, Gunner.
Yeah, gets caught out again. Ryo gonna have the follow-up stun into the disruption. I don't believe he has a remnant out right now, though he does have remnants available. He's gonna run towards the west, try to juke them out as best he can, though Jo gonna continue keeping vision on him. And now Carl jumps in, though remnants. He's trying to juke him out. Carl saw where he went, but has no mana left to blink. Now he does. Blinks the right way, though the slide was pretty good, but he had no remnants out, and he gets the XD from Carl.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Carl's putting a clinic on Gunner right now, John. I've never seen this before. Not since the Open Qualifiers has someone destroyed his Ember this much.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Gunnar, at least in these qualifiers, have a really hard time, but he certainly has here. He doesn't have the best farm. He hasn't had the best time. 2 to 4 right now, and you know it's going to be hard because you're buying space for 23 Savage, and he's
Nice
not
fish
quite
up.
ready to show up yet.
Oh, Forev doing a burnout on the spot. He kind of got stuck in the little corner there. Bit of a shame, really, as well. It was an easy kill there on Ryo, but sometimes Dota does Dota things. Although, never mind, Ryo wants to gift them a kill. In fact, never mind, Carl jumps in. It was a bait. Gunnar now gonna be chased down. He wants the kill, but BDZ's there to heal up the Centaur. And bait after bait coming out from Amplfy. March wants to get out, but Carl, he smells blood in the water and he wants to go for it, even waiting for the blink. He won't actually use it either. He'll show mercy. March didn't actually have much support behind him anyway. They were about to let him go, but I guess luckily for him, he does get let go by the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, that's again, it's a pretty rough time here for Jinesbrus. They're not finding anything at all, but Amplfy is doing so much work all around the map, right? We doubted the IO Gyrocopter. We said it needed time, and Amplfy is getting that time, all on the back of Carl and even somewhat on Rio. They have been doing a lot in this map. They've been forcing out rotations from Jinesbrus that haven't been ideal. Now, the one thing for Jinesbrus is that 23 Savage is still on top of net worth, like just below that Queen of Pain from Carl, but he's ahead with Gyro.
Oh no. Oh, Jo, he's going to get away here. Forever though, he will jump in and find him. So the bot lane, the Rolling Thunder kind of hit him over the Fissure, and I thought he might have just walked out of there, but not the case. Of course, I do agree with you. I mean, Savage is still doing very well on the Veno, John. The only thing is, and the question I have is, how effective is a Veno once you reach that late game?
It's definitely not a super late game hero. It doesn't scale as well as the Gyrocopter. It will always be effective against that IO. I think that's a key thing. With his Venomancer pickup, I'm just not sure if you're going to have the damage coming out to sustain you as the game goes later and later. Like, Amplify's draft definitely scales much nicer. You have that Gyrocopter, you have the IO, you have the Queen of Pain as well, who can itemize to stay relevant, has that inbuilt mobility. Whereas the Venomancer really tapers off at some point. You're going to be riding off the back of Gunnar's Ember and off of Forev's Pangolier, but neither really have the best farm.
Well, with that, we see the Aghanim Scepter come up on a bat now, John, so starting to escalate quite a bit. Bot lane looks like they are having a go with the Stampede, though. Do they find anybody? Rolling Thunder on the Relocator bat. He's going to cop the Poison over that they got Febby on the Earthshaker. A bat still falling low, but BDZ keeping him alive, and now Savage going to be in trouble. He can't get the job done, and the Relocate is there. They will get him out, although a bat's still ticking out, and he will actually go down. BDZ couldn't keep him alive.
Yeah, that's one of the magical things about the Venomancer. The DOT is insane, and he has a Spirit Vessel. I'm not sure if he dropped it onto either the IO or the Gyrocopter right then, but of course just having that Spirit Vessel up takes out so much of your regen capabilities that it's pretty much gone, right? It's definitely gone. It counteracts the IO Gyro quite well. Along with Venomancer's entire kit, it just plays against that regen capability.
Amplify now 15 to 7. 5k net worth lead for them. They are looking fantastic. Of course, the catch-up is going on right now from Jinesbrus. You see Gunnar, he's really got nothing right now on this Ember, John. Again, he's trying to go for that Maelstrom, but we're 17.5 minutes in now. So it's going to be a very, very late item pickup, especially considering he didn't actually opt to go for those drums. Looks like he kind of went halfway there, but just let go of it in the end. That's going to be due to Carl, who's currently going after Febby. He doesn't want to allow this Earthshaker to go down, although he missed the Scream once again. He won't commit the Sonic Wave in the end either. He'll just hold on to it. I mean, he is still 11-2 on the Quap, so I'm not gonna criticize the man. Just some of those Screams have been really on edge.
It definitely has. And if they bleed out that much, if they don't take these opportunities, you can see an opportunity for Jinesbrus to grow big. We are starting to approach a point where Febby might grab his Blink, and that's going to be key for the team fights of Jinesbrus. That could be just what they need to tie up their team fight so far. They don't have that clean initiation, especially since they can't rely on Gunnar right now, who has to play catch-up for him. Normally, he's the guy setting pace, but he's so far behind that he needs some space for himself right now.
That's a fair point. Of course, like you said, with that Blink, it may make all the difference. And I mean, it just feels that way as well. When you see these engagements, Amplify, they do tend to group up quite a bit. It's just you don't have any way of jumping in and actually getting the job done against them. Of course, I look back at Carl, and he's just continuously chasing this Ember. He will not leave the man alone. He spots him out, though, misses the scream. A nice sleight of fist dodge. Gunnar will be able to chain and get himself out. With that, though, Amplify, they're just going to set up for that top tier 2 tower now. They do push it in quite a bit, though. Looks like a bat will back off with BDZ. The bot tier 1 had already gone down, and they are going after that tier 2 as well on the side of the Dire, so a bit of a push coming in from the creep wave.
Radiant structures
I suppose Amplify just feeling very relaxed right now. Like, they know there's no need to rush this game. I mean, late game, they have a gyrocopter, right? Like, it's just... It used to be one of the kings of late game. Not so much anymore, but it is still very, very effective. Like, you always have that ability to go for that Divine Rapier build if it's necessary. And, you know, you just clear out a whole team.
Yeah, he's still that kind of hero, of course, one of the better Divine Rapier carriers, but I don't think it's going to go that late, if ever. I mean, it certainly could go 60 minutes, but will Amplify ever feel that desperate need for the Divine? It's a risky play, because you have an Ember in the opposite team as well.
Gets caught out by Ryo. Swashbuckle will be there now, Rolling Thunder March. He will end up going down, but do they jump in? Relocate was there on Febby, but they will not find the Earthshaker quite yet. Meanwhile, Savage gonna stick around for Rev, going after Carl. Carl's in trouble, he goes down. Now the BKB from Savage, he wanted to turn around on the gyro, but they relocate it out. How did Carl get so low?
Carl blinked in, he was trying to grab that bounty rune which Jinesbrus was already postured around. He cops the Rolling Thunder and all the follow-up stuns in the world, and he just melts. Savage was there, he landed all his spells.
At the very least, Carl understands with these kind of like more risky blinks, he needs a BKB before he, you know, continues doing them. And that's exactly what he's going for. Had he had that BKB all these times, it would have been such a different story. But once he's got that up, it's gonna be hard for Jinesbrus to try and control him up, I feel like. And we'll see if that makes all the difference for Carl. He's already had a fantastic game, 11-3 now. No assists though on the Queen of Pain, but it doesn't matter. Meanwhile, Febby bot lane gonna find a target in the IO. Gunnar will miss out on the gyrocopter, but it won't matter. You'll just take BDZ as a kill. And pretty much any kill for the side of Jinesbrus right now is gonna help the cause. And for the first time this game, I believe, they do take a slight net worth lead as well on the Dire side.
Yeah, 16-9, which is great, but it's less than 1k lead going the way of Jinesbrus now. This is a really good turnaround for them. It's mainly riding off the back of 23 Savage, and this is the tendency we see from Jinesbrus, right? They sometimes fall behind that early game, but they don't let go of that aggression. They just keep giving all the space to 23 Savage, and again, he is on top of the network quite a fair bit. 2k ahead of the Gyrocopter, which isn't exactly what you want to see coming out from Amplify. Again, the Gyrocopter really wants to play around his flash farming capabilities, the ability for him to really escalate the net worth.
Nice hoof stop mid lane, John. He caught Gunnar out of the sleight of fist. Gunnar, he does have the Maelstrom up now, and you see Amplify rotate immediately, though. They didn't have the control for him. Looks like Gunnar will probably go for the BKB build on the Ember now. Once that control up against the, well, not the control, but the sustain up against the Queen of Pain, Carl, who's been making his life a living hell this game. Of course, with that Maelstrom, his farm is going to escalate quite a bit now. We'll see if it makes all the difference, though. Jo looking to set up mid lane. He does throw the Purge out on Gunnar. Gunnar already losing a hell of a lot of HP. We'll be okay in the end. I thought they were going to go for the disruption setup and Ryo was near the area, but they don't opt to do that either.
You know, I want to point out something, Mike. Savage, after his next build-up, he's going for that E-Blade first. He is all in on the Dagons.
I love it. This is why I love casting this game.
Coming out from him.
This is why we love casting this team, though, John. They do all this crazy stuff that you never see. And I mean, literally 100% of the time right now, it's worked out. I don't know about this time, because it's not looking as great as it used to, but is that the answer? I mean, you will just blow up the IO every time.
I mean, he certainly will. The issue is, do you have enough physical damage or control to take care of the Gyrocopter with his BKB? That I'm not sure of. They do smoke up on the side of Amplify. They understand with that BKB, it's a major reveal for them. They're going to try to find a big kill.
Bot lane. Fairby, Echo Slam straight onto Carl. He's going for the kill by himself, and now the Ice Blast comes in. Can they find it? Carl, he will get out in the nick of time, and now they will relocate him. BDZ. Fairby going to go for the TP play, and will make it out as well.
Wow.
So this smoke rotation really not going to end up with anything. They almost lose Carl, but at the very least, I suppose they'll at least get the Echo Slam usage, and well, they do Stampede. They're going after Savage. He's BK beat up, and now the Sonic Wave goes through. Carl trying to TP out, and will not make it out. Savage, he does end up going down, and Carl finds another in the back. March will go down on the AA, and I said that smoke led to nothing, John, but it leads to two pretty big pickups for the side of Amplfy.
Yeah, that's pretty major. It felt like Febby did waste that smoke from them, but they still find those kills, and that's going to be big, right? You slow down the timing coming out from 23 Savage. He's a big kill. He's #1 in net worth. That gives you a lot more gold to play with. It opens up the side lanes for you to push in as well. So this tier 2, probably not going to last too long, although it does look like Febby. Ooh.
Bot T2 going down. Febby doesn't have the Echo now. Forev gonna jump in with the Rolling Thunder straight on that Gyro, but again, you have BDZ already there, just keeping him up. Ice Blast will come in though. A Bat is gonna cop it. They've already got the T2 tower though, so they'll happily back out of there.
Worthy treat.
So with that, an 18-9. Slight net worth lead still remains for Jinesbrus, but Amplfy, they still hold that momentum very hard in their hands. And again, you just look at Carl every single time in that quap. 13-3 right now. Just hasn't dropped off at all on this hero.
Definitely hasn't. And again, he's building up quite well. He still needs to finish up his BKB. He did sideline to another item. He has his Orchid up, and he's had his U-ult, so he has that to play around with. And if you can get the proper jump in the backline, there's not much these heroes can do to defend. None of them have any defensive item to speak of, except for Savage and Gunner now, with his BKB. But you really don't want to be expending that early on. You want to be aggressive with it. That's the entire reason Gunner was given all the space, so they can kind of play forward with the BKB.
Jo, Purge, Soul Catcher as well. Gunner will cop a fair bit of damage, but will still be okay. They might go for a smoke, and yeah, Jinesbrus, they're going to try and get something done here. They just picked up that BKB charge on Gunner as well, so you've got a 10-second charge available. Bot lane is being pushed in by Forev, but he's TPing up towards his own tier 3, or tier 2 I should say. He does get silenced up by Carl. The rest of his team are there to back him up though. Gunner, smoke broken, he'll go after Jo. It's the first target he found, and it looks like the rest of Amplfy will probably just leave him to die. Although he does cop a fair bit of damage, again from that Soul Catcher, it won't be enough for Amplfy to actually turn around and try to get them. That's just going to be another position 5 kill going to the way of Jinesbrus. But more importantly for the Dire side, their net worth lead now will rise to 3k.
Yeah, it has been slowly rising up, and that is again down to the farm from 23 Savage. He's just going around the map, really working these Plague Wards to its max, potential, and really just building up on himself. He has his E-Blade now as well. It looks like he will be going for a different item. It looks like to be the Hex first, and he has ditched the Dagon build, which is mildly disappointing, Mike.
Mildly. Gunner, nice dodge on the hoofs from Ryo. They do go for the scan on the Roshan pit from the side of Amplfy, just making sure that Jinesbrus isn't up to something sneaky. I do wonder why he actually switched the item build again, John. So now he's going for a Lotus Orb, it looks like. And I kind of wonder why though. Like, for what ability are you going for the Lotus Orb for?
I guess just general protection, maybe to help out his supports who don't have any sort of defensive items yet. Like Febby is going to be a big one.
Oh, they've caught out Gunner.
Pretty important as well.
Mid lane, they silence him up as well. He does have the BKB, but doesn't want to commit it, but has to now. He'll Remnant, although Gunner, he's falling low and does go down.
Man.
Carl,
That
he
was
rents.
his 10-second charge.
Yeah, not great news. Carl, he knew exactly where the Remnant went, and he just chased it, and Ryo did the exact opposite, chasing the actual hero. And he had nowhere to go. And that's going to make it a 90-10 now. 4k net worth lead still remains for Jinesbrus, but definitely not the... I mean, the net worth lead, I don't think it actually spells out how this game's going. Amplfy is still well and truly, it feels like anyway, in the lead.
They definitely are. I mean, there's no two doubts about that. Again, the gyrocopter isn't falling behind as bad as you'd expect. He still has some decent itemization. It's not as fast as you'd want, but it's still enough to do work. And we haven't really seen a bot jump into those front lines all too often. They should be able to take this Roche for free as well. Whether or not Jinesbrus wants to contest is another question. They certainly could if they land their spells, and they are smoked up.
They are going to go for this Roshan counter. Roshan about half HP now. Looks like they will get Forever in there to try and scout out with the Swashbuckle. Savage just jumps in with the Poison Nova. Now the Ethereal Blade. They force out the BKB from a bat. Ice Blast will not connect on anybody. Ryo trying to back off as well. He had the Spirit Vessel placed, and now the Roshan getting low. Gunner, he jumps in. He snatches the Aegis once again. How many times is he going to do this? Now they're going after the Disruptor. In fact, no, they are going after the Gyro, but he gets relocated out. Carl going for the backlines on the Queen of Pain, but he might be in trouble. Swashbuckle, Echo being committed. They want to control him, and they do find him. Now they found the Shadow Demon as well. Jo goes down. And in fact, they're still going. They're going to get Savage actually on the side of Amplfy now. So it looks like Jinesbrus, they do overextend a little bit with their Venomancer. Nevertheless, they got what they came for. How many times has this man done this now?
So many times. So many times. Just Gunner, again, stealing that Aegis from the Radiant side. That's massive for Jinesbrus. They also find a couple of key kills. Carl, again, getting caught out. Very fortunate for Amplfy that a bot did manage to get away with that relocate. They do find one great counter kill in taking out Savage. I mean, that's a really big one, right? He's the +1. He's the highest in net worth right now on the entire map. But it's almost feeling like this hero is tapering off. Like, the Venomancer most definitely is hitting its power spike, and you're starting to see every other hero start to come online. You're starting to see Forev really pumping that damage out. You're starting to see Gunner do some work with his hero, although it's still not completely healthy, right? He's working onto Radiance next, and that should definitely make him hit much harder. But, you know, despite the fact that Savage is tapering off, you're seeing every single hero really start to pick up pace here. I mean, even Febby is working towards his Aghanim's. It's still a long way off, but once that's up, you're going to be dealing with a Shaker who is going to be very hard to catch out and can initiate in multiple ways.
It's very true. Maybe we'll just continue trying to farm that Ags up down at the bot lane. Meanwhile, you look over to that Gyrocopter, John. He's going straight into a Satanic, it looks like, so a bat going to look a lot better with that, though. Still, even with that Satanic, right, his main problem is going to be that Ice Blast. Now, he does have the BKB for it to, you know, to try and get it off him, but still going to be careful about that. Like, once that BKB is gone, if you haven't committed that Satanic, one good Ice Blast from March, and it's basically useless.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough again. It's down to timing in these engagements, and Bat has had a decent enough time so far, but he hasn't really participated in most of the fights, right? He's 2-2, and just 4 assists. He hasn't been too active in the map, and that's,
Carl.
I mean, it's, you know, it's a nature of that hero.
Carl was going after Febby bot lane, but Febby does manage to blink away and TP's out immediately.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Looks like Amplify just really want to slow down this game as much as possible. Meanwhile, Savage still on the top of the net worth board as the Venomancer. He is, looks like he's going for Boots of Travel first. And he's got the Shiver's Guard inside the Vice queued up now on the Veno. We saw the Ethereal Blade come in handy, I suppose, up against the Gyro. They forced out the early BKB usage, but after that it was, you know, it was just another item to have in the item slot. I guess
Yeah,
if you time it perfectly, it'll be pretty darn useful though.
He is definitely turning into more of a utility core. Again, all the DOTs are still great. You are starting to see a lot of counter items coming out though that can work against that. The BKBs are up. You have a couple of Yules as well. There is a smoke from Amplfy.
Yeah, they jump in. Gunner, he gets caught out. Will he survive it though? He loses the Aegis. Still, he'll have a secondary life. Poison Nova does come out. Carl, he's going straight after March in the backlines, and Gunner pops BKB. Gonna go for the team fight. Now March still alive throughout all this. Savage cancels his own TP off March. He does lose his life, and now Savage goes down as well. A great Sonic Wave coming out from Carl. They try to find more, though. Febby trying to get the hell out of there with Gunner. They silence up the Ember. Homing Missile coming in with the relocate as well, though. Forev trying to get him off his carry, but it will not be so good. Amplify once again winning another engagement. A 3-0 this time around.
Tower is under attack.
And they are going to go straight into that mid-tier 2 tower after that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be really dangerous for Jinesbrus. They don't have buyback on Savage as well, so he's not going to be able to jump into this fight. He's about 130 gold from it, so it might be up by the time that high ground is being sieged. It's still a lot of damage they're going to be taking here, and that is worrisome. You had the Aegis there on Gunner, and he just died like that. This Ember is very paper thin, and if he keeps playing far forward like this, it's just going to be hard for him to really survive.
Now Febby gets jumped on. Ice Blast will be there. He uses himself up as well, trying to get out of there safely. Meanwhile, Forev trying to distract them, but Febby is still in trouble, and Carl Echo is committed, but they do find the kill. Now they silence up March as well. Forev still trying to take down this Queen of Pain, but she BKBs up. She actually just blinks towards the fountain and goes for the TP play and does make it out. Now Ryo gets a hoof snop off onto Forev. He's in big trouble. He'll swashbuckle out of there, and now the Rolling Thunder back in. He'll avoid the homing missile with that. He goes straight after that Centaur Ryo, although he's blinked and stampeded out now. So Ryo, he'll be safe. Savage trying to find a target. He will find Jo, but Jo really won't mind dying. They commit the Poison Nova, but it's only going to be for position 5 support. Meanwhile, Forev actually TP to the shrine. Will find a Bat and BDZ, but can't really do the work by himself. So Amplify, they do happily back off after taking that mid-tier 3 tower now. They will open up the shrines for themselves. And they do take back that net worth lead their way by about 2k.
Yeah, those are some massive wins coming out from Amplify. They open up that mid lane, so the next time they decide to siege that high ground and racks are pretty much gone. Right? You've shown that you can stand up against Jinesbrus' lineup again. Gunner just not having the best time. He was walking way too far forward. There were no wards in that ramp when he walked up, and gets punished hard for these really forward movements. You have to be a lot more conscious about where you are in the map, especially since, again, your Ember Spirit didn't have that great start. It has recovered a bit, but he's still like, what, 5th, 6th in terms of net worth? Not the best area to be in as a core Ember Spirit, of course. And that is still worrisome for Jinesbrus. Again, they were bouncing back. A lot of their net worth is still hanging on that Venomancer, who has pretty much tapered off now, and on Forev, who isn't quite completely ready to be that hard-hitting Pangolier just yet. He's going for that Basher next, and that should be really helpful in proccing those stuns and getting that control. He also needs to hold for buyback, so it's going to be a while until he has both of those up. And again, that's just time that Amplify can use to get bigger and bigger. We're reaching a point where the Gyrocopter is just king of this game. He has that Satanic up. He has his Mjolnir up. And there's just not much you can do to stop this guy at this point. You have the tools to do it, but the defensive items are out, and he just BKBs and you have no control.
Yeah, definitely so. It's like an Aghanim Scepter now coming out on Ryo as well, so he's looking even better. Meanwhile, I had a look at 23 Savage is still switching his item build. He's going for a Hurricane Pike now, but just a minute ago he had the Dagon build back. Now he switches again. Looks like an Octarine core to come out. And it seems like he's kind of confused as to what he can do to change the game on this hero now. And it is a very hard question to ask. Amplify, nice smoke, but Gunner will break.
Alright, Gunner finishes up his Radiance, but he doesn't have buyback. So this is going to be really risky from him. His damage just shot up tremendously, and he does give his team a bit more defense in terms of that that mischance onto the Gyrocopter, but he is still so paper thin. Like, the only defensive item he has is that BKB. He doesn't have too much HP. One stun and he's dead.
Well, they're going
So
to
he has
jump
to
him
play
as well.
carefully here.
Carl does get the Hex off. New Sight device coming out on Carl. Can they control him up long enough? No, they cannot. Even the Stampede being committed, but they just couldn't get there in time. There's a great attempt there from Amplify, and had they caught him out, the game could have been over. Again, the Gunner buyback just wasn't there, but he will escape. It looks like they will go into the Roshan pit once again on the side of Amplify, though you know Jinesbrus aren't going to allow this to happen for free. They did scan it out. They'll make their way there, though Amplify have already backed off. I say that, though Ryo is standing on top of the cliff waiting for his next opportunity to jump. Ice Blast will show nobody in the pit. Observer Ward will show the high ground. So both teams, at least for now, will avoid each other. They'll find a double damage down to that bot lane, so Gunnar will happily pick that one up on the Ember. This Roshan fight got just so much more dangerous with that double damage rune. At least for Amplfy anyway, though. They are still looking fairly strong. Looks like Amplfy will probably just at least wait out that Stampede to be available on Ryo before they go back into the Roshan pit. I mean, with an Aghanim Scepter Stampede, you probably want to have it off cooldown before you take a risk like that.
Definitely so. It just gives you so much more to play around with. That damage reduction is pretty massive. And again, the game is really tight still. It's a 5k lead for Amplfy, but you're always worried about Jinesbrus just bouncing back in. Despite the fact that, again, their pause 1 Savage just feels like he's tapered off completely. He's switched back to the Dagon build in his queue.
March gonna get jumped straight away. Carl finds him. BKB has already been activated. March can't get out of there in time. Carl does get an outside device on another. He wants Febby. The rest of the team relocating in as well. Febby is kind of between a rock and a hard place, but he blinks out. TP straight away. Surely they cancel it, and they do. They get the Yules off just in the nick of time. Still, Gunnar comes in now as well. Febby to fall. He does end up going down. No buyback on him. Now the Rolling Thunder. They'll go after Carl on that Queen of Pain. Gunnar pops the BKB, but nobody's left around really. Or is there Carl? He does end up going down. He just popped out that disruption. Now Jo gonna lose his life as well on the Shadow Demon. And so it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade, although it keeps going. They found the Hoofstop. Gunner's in trouble, but he managed to slide a fist, and now Remnant out. He gets the chains as well, though he cannot get the second Remnant. And so a 2-for-3 trade. There is buyback available on the Ember this time around. Amplfy, I don't know if they'll really capitalize with the Roshan quite yet, but it looks like they are heading that way, and they are going to try for it. At least try and force that buyback out from Gunner. The Ice Blast going to come in. Lands pretty much perfectly. And with that Ice Blast, that's actually just going to be enough for them to back off.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to force that issue. You are at your weakest when you do get hit by that Ice Blast. Again, just taking away all the regen you have is not going to be nice. So they're going to play it safe. And again, they can't secure that Roche, especially since everyone but Gunner is up. That is still massive team fight coming out from Jinesbrus. They still have the Echo Slam. They didn't expend, so always have to be conscious about that spell when you're in a tight area like the pit.
So they are going to go back into that Roshan pit now. Still 25 seconds left for that Gunner buyback, but again, another Ice Blast going to be perfectly on point. Abat cops it and has to go back.
Absolutely perfect.
Even Carl complimenting the Ice Blast from March. But they will go back in this time around. Perhaps Jinesbrus not expecting this, so the scan does come out and they will spot them out. Ice Vortex to give vision as well, and here comes Forev, jumps in with the Rolling Thunder. He's controlling up this gyro quite well, even the Roshan helping out, though now they will try to get Forev, and the Aegis is taken by a bat, so they won't fully commit for that Roshan pit this time around. They'll just allow that Aegis to go the way of the gyro, and I believe the cheese was picked up by BDZ, and it was. And with this, once again, Amplfy going to be in a perfect position to try and at least get a Rax for themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a much easier time. They have that cheese up as well. And you have all the region in the world. Again, all the tools in the world to really secure that high ground now. And Jinesbrus has to slow down their item progression to save for those buybacks. The Aghanims coming out from Gunner, not going to be up because he has to hold out for the buyback. You also see the Basher finally up in Forev. He is working towards his Ags, but he can't finish it because buyback. Like, he doesn't have enough gold after buying out the Ags to have his buyback as well. And that's going to cost them. That just means they're not going to be as well equipped. They're going to have to play a bit more defensively. But, you know, Jinesbrus is not the kind of team to have that sort of patience for the most part.
That's very true. Meanwhile, 23 Savage John, what is he doing? He's got 7k gold now. He still hasn't made a decision as to what item he wants. He's been with this item build for at least 10 to 15 minutes now. I'm kind of curious, like, what does he just go for the full Dagon 5? Does he actually go for the Octarine core at this rate? Like, what does he do?
I mean, we'll see. Sooner or later, he's going to have to spend that money.
Bat trapped in. Ethereal Blade though, Ryo jumps in, nice hoofstomp coming out. They're going to go straight after Savage once again. He pops the Nova, he knows he's probably dead here. Abat though, diving pretty darn deep, but he has the Aegis, and Savage still, no, does end up going down in the end, but they found the Aegis, and now Abat, he's just driven way too far. He must know he's dead at this point though. Is there a relocate coming out? Not quite. He does heal himself up with that Satanic, but that's all there's going to be. BDZ roaming his way in though. He doesn't actually have relocate, but the Sonic Wave is going to be nice. Still though, they already found the Gyro, and now BDZ just wants to get the hell out of there. He will just tether around, though Gunner catches him off guard. They do get the Sight Device on the Ember now though, and here comes Forever and Bebby. They really want Carl on that Queen of Pain. Yules are there, Chains were there as well on that Quap. She's falling quite low though. Ryo trying to help out, and she does blink out in time though. Forever misses the Swashbuckle. Ice Blast will also not connect, and Forever is going to make the chase. They will lose the Queen of Pain. They may get BDZ. Meanwhile, Ryo has been left alone. He has Jayo in the backlines, and there's the disruption coming out, but that's really all going to be, it's really going to be the only help Ryo gets. Meanwhile, BDZ is still alive, and Forev's the one in trouble and does end up going down to Carl. Ryo's still trapped up by himself, but he finally goes down. And meanwhile, Jayo, he does get caught up by Febby in the end, though I say that he's still not dead, but Gunner will pick him up with the Sleight of Fist. A very prolonged team fight between these two, but it looks like Jinesbrus probably came out on top. In fact, I say that, but there was 2 buybacks. So although Amplfy did lose the Aegis and the Gyro, in the end, forcing those 2 buybacks, they may just be happy with that.
They definitely are, right? This is the one thing that you've been waiting for. They don't get any objectives from that siege. I mean, they just dive way too deep. But again, forcing those buybacks by itself is already big. That opens up the high ground the next time you decide to siege it. Although I wonder if it's at this point where Amplfy is going to wait for that next Roche, because, you know, with that one Aegis, you already lost your Gyrocopter. Granted, he did dive way behind those tier 3s without any of his teammates to back him up. Will they wait for the next Aegis before going for that high ground? Possibly. That might give a bit too much time back to Jinesbrus, as the Roshan is still going to be up perhaps in 4 minutes. We'll find out in 4 minutes when it's going to be up, and that might be enough time for Jinesbrus to farm up one big item or 2. It brings their buybacks even closer. Of course, that still means about a 3-minute wait by the time the Roshan is set to perhaps spawn up. So you're starting to run out of options here. You do have the Gunner Ags up. So that Ember Spirit Ags now up. His 25 up as well with a Remnant charge time.
You actually got 3 Ags up though. There's
yeah, that might be the difference here.
Yeah, you got Febby's Ags and you've got Forev's Ags on the Pango as well. So it may be the difference. I feel like it should be, but Amplfy, they're just playing so darn well. It's hard to imagine them making mistakes that Jinesbrus can really capitalize on. We'll see though. Looks like Amplfy are going to start committing some pressure into that mid lane once again. Jinesbrus understanding they need to stay back, defend that high ground. That's exactly what they'll do for the moment. Looks like there will be a Lincoln Sphere coming out on Gunner as well, and that's going to be very necessary, up against that Queen of Pain especially. Like, she's got a Bloodthorn up now. That's going to be so darn painful to deal with unless he does have that Lincoln's up. Even the Sight Device, of course, as well. Just something to block at least one of those abilities from those items. Might catch out Gunner top lane. They are making their way up. They do spot him out. But it looks like it's only Abat that was really interested in the kill attempt. Still, again, making their way up. Bit of flak cannons going on, and Gunner, he'll just Remnant out immediately, but Abat does clear out the full creep wave once again. Meanwhile, Ryo's actually going for a refresher orb. So you're going to have that double Stampede available, which is going to be pretty devastating considering he already had that Aghanim Scepter. It's going to be a long time of just running very, very quickly above cliffs for the side of Amplfy once he has that up.
Yeah, it's not only that, but the damage reduction is really the key thing here. Just 14% off for, what is that, 8 seconds? That's going to be a massive amount of time where Jinesbrus' damage is just not going to do too much. Do they have the sustain to wait out those 8 seconds if a refresh does come out? I don't think so. We've already seen these heroes melt quite fast. So they're not going to be able to stand up to that reduction coming out from Amplify if they do get that refresh up in time from Rio. And again, it does look like Amplify is actually just going to be waiting out that Roche. So there's a minute and a half left until we find out when it's going to respawn. But it's still a long time until those buybacks are up from Jinesbrus. Unless they can delay the game once that Roche is up, they're still short about a minute when the Roshan might be set to respawn. So it's going to be a bit rough. They can't give away the Roche at the same time. It's going to be hard for them to contest. Because once they die, that's it.
It's very true. Because this game has been so back and forth, but it has gone back Amplify's way. Even Dota Plus stating 72% win chance for the side of the Radiant now. Of course, they do lead by 9k in terms of gold as well. You see a Mjolnir pick up from Carl, so he's pretty much at his limit. He doesn't even have treads right now in the he does have it in the backpack, but he won't be using it.
Radiant's bottom tower
Only goes so much more. Maybe a refresher orb for Carl would be nice. Maybe even the Aghanim's upgrade from the next Roshan, if it does come up, would be nice. We'll see.
I reckon one of these guys needs to pick up a Nullifier. That will just secure your kills on Gunner. It will secure your kills on basically any single hero. That's one item we sometimes don't see in the late game. Nullifiers are very useful, and I feel like Carl would be the best here to pick that up. It's just he's gonna have to sacrifice an item for it. Looks like, he'd probably throw that Veil out. I think that's very worthwhile for a Nullifier. It just gives you so much more at this point compared to Veil.
I can't disagree with you on that. We'll see what he does opt for, though. Roshan will be spawning up in about 30 seconds from now, John. Ryo, mid lane, just kind of hanging in the tree line with Forev. Both having pretty much the exact same idea. Forev shows himself, but Ryo will not make the jump. Still Roshan. They do scan out the heroes in the Roche pit at the very least, but it is still 5 seconds away, and that Ice Blast going to be a bit mistimed, which is really unfortunate for the side of Jinesbrus now. Though again, they should pretty much be aware of what's going on. Meanwhile, top lane though, Gunner gets caught out, but pops the BKB, and now Carl falling pretty low. The Remnant's out. Carl is being chased down. They pop the Stampede as well. Can he find his kill? Carl, he misses the scream. Gunner dodges it though. Ryo found the hoof stomp. They will find the trade. Those are some long respawn times, and Forev thinking about rolling Thunder. He will not. But they have the hoof stomp. It looks like they are going to jump in. Forev does commit it this time around. Now remember, he does have the Ags, and there's a lot of damage coming out with those swashbuckles. Ice Blast will connect. No, they won't. A bat does get away with it. It just barely misses him. And so a 1-for-1 trade. I imagine the gold for Jinesbrus was a lot more. Because Carl was just worth more money at the moment, but without that Ember, this Roshan's just going to be so much harder. The buyback, he's 350 gold away on the Ember Spirit right now. That's a real shame, because I believe they're just going to have to let this one go. Meanwhile, BDZ has a Desolator up as well.
Yeah, he has a 25 talent. That's the only time you go for it. So, when Gyrocopter flat cannons, that is going to be quite the show, Mike.
Nothing wrong with a bit of a lighting show in this Dota game, John. We are 52 minutes in after all. Both teams just playing on edge with each other. Now with the Aegis, with the cheese, and whoa, did they get an Aghanim's upgrade? Is that what happened, or did they get a refresher shard? I didn't quite see it.
Trying to check.
No, they did get the Ags upgrade. Yep, the Aghanim's Blessing is on the Centaur Ryo right now. Looks like he's holding it for the Queen of Pain, Carl. And I think that is the right decision anyway. Like, having that low cooldown Sonic Wave is really going to hurt Jinesbrus. They will get started though. A bat going to cop the Ice Blast. Does have the BKB, but Febby jumps in. A lot of damage being dealt, and now they just take him out.
Wow.
Age is gone. Rax is pretty low. He BKBs up this time around, and a bat. Who does he go for though? He thought about Febby, but Febby's out of there. He gets the Rax, but now the BKB's gone, and they're going to try and punish here. Poison Nova comes out though. Savage BKBs himself up as well, and it looks like that's going to be the end of that. You just don't have that lockdown without the Ember Spirits, so they couldn't really keep going. And so Amplify, although it costs them that Aegis straight away, they do get the mid-Rax, which they've been trying to get for a very, very long time. I suppose Amplify would definitely consider that well worth
Definitely so, right? That's the one objective they've been throwing their heads against the wall for. They managed to finally take it out. But you are still a bit worried, right? You're starting to see a bat can actually be burned down by the heroes on Jinesbrus if he's just a bit too far forward. And he wasn't exactly that far out. He was teetered up from his IO. You were seeing the attacks flying out. It's just that at this point, the damage is starting to come out from the other heroes. And you just can't be as far forward as you were earlier on. You could say the same thing about Gunner. He's been really far forward, and it really has been costing them for a while.
A bat?
Radiant's
Pretty far forward right now, John. He gets jumped on straight away. BKB up. Relocate is not quite there. They're going to try and fight this out, and Forever actually dropping low, but does roll away and TP's out. Gunner, meanwhile, will remnant out as well. They do have Ryo in the backlines on March, so he will probably end up dying, though. He tries to TP with the Glimmer Cape, and he gets disrupted. JL will find him in the end. They'll find the AA at the very least. They don't find anybody else. And Amplfy, I thought that was a pretty far forward positioning from a bat, but it was a bit of a bait. They keep going. Fisher is there. Carl gonna get jumped on. Febby wants it. They do jump in. Carl's so down low, but doesn't end up dropping. He BKBs up himself, and now he gets healed up by the IO. They jump in. They want that Earthshaker gone, though. He gets out as well. Call down will do absolutely nothing, but the Flak Cannon will. Now the Remnants. Gunner, who's he looking for? He goes after that Queen of Pain again. Try to get some sweet, sweet revenge, but you have BDZ there, and now the Sonic Wave does connect. Meanwhile, Febby, he found Jo. Ryo, why are you on a cliff, sir? It doesn't matter. They found Forev on the Pango. Buybacks coming out left, right, and center. They still know where that Centaur is. Still, though, the Earthshaker about to drop, and they've lost Febby. Ryo will buy back after his death, though, and Febby does have his own buyback. They're still going a bat. BKB's up once again. Forev, he's back in there, but look how low he gets. He just melts straight off the bat on Carl. He found 23 Savage. Can he take him out, though? Febby jumps back in. He doesn't have Echo, though. Meanwhile, Ryo going after Gunner. They're going to find this end with the Sonic Wave. Will connect this time around. He does have buyback. He'll have to commit it straight off the bat, though. Meanwhile, 23 Savage actually does finally pick up the Dagons after the Octarine core. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make at this rate, but he has got it. There's the buyback coming out from Gunner. He jumps in straight away, though he can't afford to die right now, or the game's pretty much over. Febby jumps in, though they're both in trouble. The sight device comes out. It looks like Amplify. They may have done it. Gunner goes down. Two buybacks, or diebacks there. Carl going to go straight after March in the backlines. A celebration relocate coming up at 23. And with that, John, it is all over. Amplify, they will take a game off the side of Jinesbrus. They still end up at the top of the group nonetheless, but they will not go undefeated.
That is a surprise win, and a very welcome one for Amplify, of course. That does bring them into the upper half. 3-2 now, and trailing behind them is 496 at 2-2. But this was really important for Amplify. They recognize that they take this win, a very surprising win over Jinesbrus, and that is refreshing. It's been a while, again, since we've seen Jinesbrus pushed against the wall. This time around, they definitely were tested. And, you know, it just so happens Amplify, the Filipinos, do come out on top. So props to them for taking down the favorites. And rather unfortunate for Jinesbrus, they're not going to have that perfect run. But they've still got a few more games left up ahead. And, you know, they should still be able to work their way towards that #1 spot. Unless, well, of course, they're not performing up to par.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With that, though, John, we do have our second series of the day coming up very, very soon. That's going to be between Resurgence and EVOS. Now, we haven't had the pleasure of casting EVOS in the group stage quite yet, so, of course, we've casted them many times during the open qualifiers. Still, though, we'll see how they're going in the group stage very, very soon. Should be an interesting matchup. Nevertheless, it is MLPDotA and johnxfire. We'll be back with you guys in about 5 to 10 minutes for that next series. Won't be too long.